Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, so just before we start this podcast, this is obviously on YouTube, and I just wanted to give you another little sort of insight into me recording. So if you see me moving around and things like that, it's not the video just for YouTube. It's me just recording an episode of the Personal Development Unplugged podcast. So you might find it more interesting just to watch and listen, or if you want the actual episode itself in all its highfalutin stereo. No, it's not stereo, it's mono, isn't it? And just enjoy. Anyway, bear with me just 1 second till we go into the episode. Hey, my friend, welcome back to the Personal Development Unplugged podcast. And, you know, what a lovely thought. Isn't it a lovely thought? The lovely thought to feel empowered, to be empowered. You know, that to me is, we've all had it in the past, haven't we? We have. We've all felt empowered. And I think sometimes when we feel empowered, we don't realise we feel empowered until you look back on that time. And if you were to think back now into certain memories where you just were in the flow, you were doing it, you were making a difference, you were being successful, I guess you were a little bit empowered, if not a lot empowered. Now, you see, do you want to know the secret, though? The secret to being empowered anyway. So you're always empowered to do the things you want to do. Well, if you do want to know that secret, well, buckle up and let's have a little look. Let's dive deeper. But first of all, I wanted to look at the definition of empowerment. And one of the ones was authority. I'm reading this now. Authority, a power given to someone. And I would want some of that, wouldn't it? A power given to somebody. I want some of that. I really do. But then there's another one, another definition. And it says it's the process of becoming stronger and more confident. And here's the kicker, especially in controlling one's life. One's life. That's a good thing, isn't it? And in that sort of personal development, I'm not sure about the controlling side of it, because I don't like to think about being in control, as in having to consciously be in control. When clients come to me and say, look, I feel out of control, I just want to really be in control of everything I do. And they're so conscious. We can't do things consciously. But when we are in control, because we're aligned, we're accessing all the most appropriate beliefs, emotions and behaviours, we effectively are in control, but you only feel out of control, I think. Because you're either in control or you're out of control, I think. Sort of. And there's probably some bits in the middle. But hey, wouldn't it be good to feel stronger, becoming stronger, more confident, and controlling one's life? You know, I did look online as well, and I found this lovely little thing. I took a screenshot of it, and it says, the following 7 tips can help you achieve self-development, or self-empowerment. And I thought, got to look at these, haven't we? Develop a positive attitude. All right, then. Set reasonable goals. Reasonable? Okay. Surround yourself with positive people. That's a good one. Practice self-care. Use positive self-talk. Be assertive. And create an action list. And I thought to myself, when I heard those, I thought, how do you do all of that? I mean, they weren't that brilliant. But there's no how to do anything, is there? No how to do anything at all. And I think they miss the point completely. There's a stop just before all of that to enable you to do all of that. And here's where we enter the wonderful equation of C is greater than E. What the hell are you talking about, Cluffy? C is greater than the E. Okay. Well, you see, E means excuses, reasons. That doesn't make sense either, Paul. C is greater than excuses? No. Being at cause is greater than the excuses, because there's so many people live on the effect. E is for effect as well, the effect side of life. The cause is greater than the effect. Cause and effect. Cause is greater than the effect, and the effect is also excuses, reasons why you can't do it. It wasn't me, it's not my fault, it was the weather, it was the economic climate, I had to wait for somebody else. Everything is a bloody excuse. Yeah. Have you ever done that before? Do you know somebody who, when you ask, did you do that? I didn't have time. Isn't that the great one? I didn't have time to do it. I was so busy doing all. But, yeah. Now, you see, we all know people who do this. We really do. But the thing is, do you know somebody a little bit closer to home? Yeah, that's somebody a little bit closer to home, like looking in the mirror. I look in the mirror and go, what's the excuse this time, Paul? But anyway, who or what would our mate Jocko Willink say? He wouldn't say any of the above, would he? Do you remember? He says, good. I get to do this. I get to do this. Hence his book, Extreme Ownership. And I also notice he's selling t-shirts, and one of them is, get after it. Just written on the top of his t-shirt, get after it. That's taking responsibility. That's taking ownership of anything, everything. He would say everything. You take ownership of your life. And if you're in your life and things are happening around you, you are there. You're in the cause because you're there. Therefore, you take extreme ownership. You take responsibility. Because when you do, that's being at cause. That's so much greater than being at the effect of everything else. It's taking responsibility. And when you do that, you don't get to say, this is not my problem. Because you're in it. And so you're either on the effect side, I say that again more clearly, you're either on the effect side of life, and when you're on the effect side of life, you are out of control. And if you're out of control, remember what we first said? Empowerment is all about getting stronger and especially controlling one's life. So if you're out of control, you're not controlling one's life, very posh, very regal, very royal, one's life. But the thing is, if you're living on the effect side, the excuses and the reasons, it means you can't change. You can't change what's happening because you're dependent on something else. You have to wait for others, wait for other people to do things, wait for situations to change, wait for, anything to change. The weather, the bloody weather, things like that. And you see, all of that is that's controlling your life, not you. The effect then. You'll be at the effect of someone else's cause. Because somebody else will be doing it. I'll tell you that now. They'll be empowered. And that's what it is. When you take responsibility and you come at the cause side of life, you are empowered. You're getting after it. You're taking that extreme Jocko Willink ownership. And it doesn't matter what happens then, because you are going to create it. And then you can change it if it's not what you want, the result, because it's not a failure, is it? It'll just be another effect. It's a result you're getting from your actions. And when you look at the effect and you don't like the result of those actions, then you just bloody change it because you are at cause again. You're taking responsibility. See, remember, before you decided unconsciously, that's what tended to happen. But now you get to do both. You get to say, well, put it this way, you don't get to say, this is not my problem. Because everything you decide is the cause. You become the cause. You are taking total, absolutely 100 and, well, you can't get more than 100%, can you? But 100% total responsibility. Basically you say, fuck it, this is my life. This is my life and I'm going to do it. Sorry about the swearing, but that's what sometimes we say inside. Sometimes one of us, me, might say it on the outside. And that's it. And that's simply it. You just have to say, fuck it, I get to do this. I'm going to do it. And when you say it like that, I mean, there's even a book called with that title. And when you just get to say that or something similar, which is your way of saying it, it feels different inside. Automatically, you're leaning in. You're taking responsibility. You are looking to make a difference. And that's it. There you go. But the thing is, there has to be a first step. You see, big things follow this. But you have to make a step. You have to have a plan that becomes a habit. And what's the plan? Well, if you know what, because you can't just say, I'm going to do it, because if you haven't got a plan, then you might as well be at the effect because you're going to cause mayhem. You know, there's one thing just doing it, but doing it with a direction in mind, an aim in mind. What do we call that? We call it a well-formed outcome. Oh, have you heard that before? If you're new here, you might not have heard it before. But if you've been here for ages and ages, you will remember quite clearly that hashtag 91, I talked about a well-formed outcome. And you'll also remember that hashtag 91.1, I did a hypnosis track on it, where you can get to close your eyes, think of your issue, think about your goal, the things you need to do. And guess what? I take you through the well-formed outcome. Because the outcome is what you want, but you want a well-formed plan to get it. So if you, where do I get that? Well, one of the things is you just search back for hashtag 91. Because I think both would be good, both is, there's a hypnosis track. And you go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast. And then you'll sign up to all those free hypnosis tracks. And then you just scroll down the page to 91.1, well-formed outcome. Think of where you want to go, close your eyes, zoom, boom. And that's what we do. Now, I want to tell you just, what is it? You see, there's also that other rule. Because I'm trying to get it right in my head. But the other rule really is you have to have that plan and you have to write it down. That was a rule. Write that sucker down. Do you know what? We keep coming back to the same things, don't we? Write the sucker down. Have your puzzle book. Have a piece of paper, whatever it is. But write that sucker down. Because now we're starting to do things. We're not just saying, I get to do this. Effort and all that stuff. No. That has tipped the domino into us saying, and this is where I want to go. And this is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to look for options. Because things might happen. I'm going to look for ways to mitigate things. All that stuff. And I'm also going to have a well-formed outcome. And very briefly, things like stating things in the obvious. In the obvious, in the positive, Cluffy, get it right. Stating things in the positive. So not what you don't want, what you do want, where you're going, what that aim is, what that direction is, what is that goal. Then you might just go, well, what would it mean to me if I got it? You know, what is my why? Why is it so important to me? Because once I've got my why and I know where I'm going, damn, I'm on my way. All the stuff you start to write down and listen to the hypnosis track. Then you might want to say, well, What specifically do I want? Because probably your goal is now a bit general. Let's get into more specifics. Specificality, which I can never say. But when you go there, then you might find there's one or two more steps along the way. And there normally is, isn't there? And then you can think, well, have I ever done anything like this before? Because if I have, I've got some skills. Or if I haven't, I know I need to learn some skills. And maybe I might ask the question, do I know anybody else who has done this before? So could I ask them? Could I look on YouTube? Could I Google it? Where is this information I can get? And is this ecological? That's another one. Is it good for me? Is it good for the people around me? And is it good for little old planet Earth? Because it's got to tick all those three boxes. Because when it is, it feels so good. There's things like, do I know exactly when I want this issue? Not this issue, when I want this result. When I want to start. Do I know where I want it? Because it's not in all areas of my life, probably. It's in a particular context. Let's get more specific. And also, who is involved with this? Who do I want to be involved with this? Who don't I want to be involved with this? Because these are things that once you start getting clear and clarity, crystal clear clarity, it's a lovely little saying. Once you get that, I can never say it with crystal clear clarity, you really get your vision open to where you're going. And then you look at that why again and you go, do you know what? I'm up for this. I really am up for this because I get to do this good. I'm taking responsibility for me and my life. And guess what? I feel empowered and I grow stronger with that. Yeah, and then if you wanted a bit more help, and you've signed up to those hypnosis tracks, you'll notice there's 50 other ones there. There's some NLP processes and hypnosis tracks. And you can look at that, well, I need a bit more confidence. Well, there's a bit there. I need to set my state. Oh, there's one there. I need to really look at my intention. Why am I doing this? Not just my why, what it means to me, why is it important, but why am I doing it for me? Making sure that there's no issues around this. You've got so much there. Getting a goal. I think I was 92.1 of working backwards from the goal. So now you know what you want and you know where and when you want it and you know the result you want. Work backwards in steps to find the first step that would lead on to the next step and the next step. Like knowing the final domino, that when it's tipped over, you've got your result. And then you work back through the dominoes to the first domino that has to be tipped to tip all the rest. It's all here for you. Done. Job done. Nearly a job done. You see, I got this feeling when I was doing this, that I got the feeling that I've got your back on this. But you have to do the work. There'll be other stuff. And I'll do more things for you. But you have to do the work. It's not an intellectual thing. We talk about this. It's not just intellectual. We go, oh, that's very interesting, Cluffy. I understand what you say. And whoosh, it disappears. No. You have to, obviously, learn it and do it. And when you do what you know and you know what you do, you've got mastery of this one thing. And then you get mastery of the next step and the next step. You don't have to do it all at once. You just have to keep taking one step on that ladder at a time. Not the whole staircase, not the whole ladder. One step at a time. And when you do that, boom. But you always know your outcome. And that's, if you remember, if you're used to being here, but if you're not, there's the first step of the 5 keys to success. Know your outcome. And this goes with that well-formed outcome. Know your outcome. You know where you're going. And then take massive, intuitive, continuous action. And that can be in your puzzle book, making out the steps and then applying those steps in real life, in physicality. So you know your outcome. You're taking massive and intuitive, continuous action. And then you have to be aware aware of your progress. So you're measuring your process. Am I on the right direction still? Is there a problem? Do I have to mitigate it? Have I gone off course? Because when you're aware of the effects of your steps and the results you're getting, you might need to change. And because you're flexible, which is step 4, you have the flexibility to adapt, to get over, to get round, to get under issues, problems, because you're there. And the very 5th step, which is the one I love, all of this is acted from that state of as if, with a state of complete, it's just the physicality and the psychology of excellence, as if you've already achieved it. If you can put on that state, as if, acting as if, boom. It's not fake it till you make it, it's acting as if you've already got it, with the physicality and psychology of excellence. There, I got it out in the end, didn't I? I just got back. So there you go. When you use those 5 keys, you're taking responsibility, you're being at cause, you've committed, man, you feel good. And you're going to get the result. You certainly will be, well, you won't be on that excuses tide. You won't be saying, I couldn't do it because, and that little whiny voice. I was going to say something else, but I won't. And when you do that, I actually wrote a note, you'll never look back, but you will look back because you're going to learn occasionally. So you look back, how did I do that? Wow. And when you look back, and maybe you'll model yourself, or maybe you'll share your model, your steps along the way. Because when you teach it, you get to learn it even deeper. And when you do that, you feel more empowered. And when you feel more empowered, it feeds that empowerment. It feeds your confidence, your competence. It feeds your self-esteem. And all the while, those wonderful emotions of confidence, empowerment, self-esteem, competence, just attracts good things. Because it just happens. It's a bugger. When you do this stuff, synchronicity, coincidence, they just happen. Things just happen in a good way. And it all came down from that one decision, didn't it? Way back at the beginning. It's not my problem. It is good. I get to do this. Fuck it. I've gone. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get this result. This is my life, and I'm going to take responsibility for it. And the thing is, it doesn't stop here. Because I'm not silly enough to think that this one episode, plus those hypnosis tracks, is going to solve every issue you've ever had. Because as you do that, you might come across a little stumbling block that you need a bit of help with. Now, I'm here, I say, I've got your back. I want to help you get over those things as well. But we need to know what they are. So as you're doing this and you go, actually, I just don't get this, or I'm having a bit of an issue, I'm getting a problem of how, there's another little a step I need, email me, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. I'll say that more slowly for you. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Excuse me. And do email me. Tell me the little step you need. I will answer you whatever happens, but I would hope that we can either move it into a 5-minute quickie or a longer podcast, which means everyone gets to solve their problem. Because I guarantee, another Cluffy guarantee, you will not be the only person who has this little stumbling block, where maybe the steps have just suddenly become a little bit too large for you. And we want an intermediate step or two. And we'll create them. We'll find them. Got so much here, so much up in this noggin of mine. And all the information that I've got at my disposal, I can find things, find people to help. So do email me. In fact, take the responsibility of emailing me. Be a cause on that. Empower yourself to email me those questions. we'll find an answer. I'll give you all the help I can, because that's what we do. So all you have to do is let me know. Now, the other thing is, if you really wanted help, and you see, some of these things are, and some of the things, you might have an issue that's actually stopping you doing it. Maybe it's that imposter syndrome. Maybe it's I feel guilty. Maybe I do have a negative limiting belief of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't belong here, I'm stupid, all that stuff. Well, if that's a big thing, like go to someone like me. You don't have to come to me, but go to someone like me, a bloody good hypnotherapist and NLP practitioner, maybe a timeline therapist thrown together in that mix. You get all those three in the mix. You're going to get that clarity. You're going to let go of that little part of the issue, which will allow those dominoes to carry on tipping over to your goal. Maybe flick through. I mean, there's hundreds of episodes here now. Flick through some of those back catalogue of episodes, and you'll see something that jumps out at you and go, oh, there it is. Search. See what you can find. If not, email me, as I said, and I'll find an episode for you, or we'll find something really specific. It's also good to, even if I repeat the same type of thing in a brand new episode, I'll say it differently. So we'll get it differently. And probably I've learned a little bit since back then to now. So we'll add a bit more richness to it. Yeah. So I'll take responsibility for doing that. You see, I made a few notes, and I'm rounding up with these notes. You see, this thing about living on the effect side of life, the excuses side of life, the reason side. You see, one of the things I said is, looking down upon this whole issue, I said, you choose this, but you don't really choose. You don't really have a choice. But you do. You have to be right for you, the right you. Just be the right you. And when you are being you, the real you, singing from that real voice of yours, you'll start taking responsibility. And the thing is, as you do that, this empowerment grows inside. Exponentially, if I said that word correctly. It just keeps growing and growing and becomes a really good habit. And I thought to myself, what do I really want to tell you? And I don't know if I've done this, but you'll have to tell me. What I wanted to tell you was there's no more excuses. No more excuses for not getting what you want. Because it's in your grasp. You can hold it. You can take hold of this. You can let it resonate within you. You can see what needs to be done. But the thing is, only you can do that. You don't have to rely on anybody else. Because it's up to you to be you. And how did I want you to feel through all of this? And I wrote down simply that. I want you to feel empowered. Not just feel empowered, I want you to feel empowered. Because when you have that as a goal, and then you take responsibility for feeling empowerment, then you have to do this. You have to be at cause. You have to take responsibility. You have to, with Jocko's wonderful words, say, good, I get to do this. Or F it. Or, like his t-shirt, get after it. And even those just makes you feel good, doesn't it? And the thing is, I started to think, well, why is it important? And what I thought was, and this is where we start, but also where we finish. Because there is no middle ground to taking responsibility. You start with you, you finish with you, and that's it. Simply you. Simply me. Simply them. Everyone has to take responsibility for their actions. Take the responsibility for solving things. Making planet Earth a wonderful place for everyone to live in. Where do you start? Here and now, in you. And then it just spreads. And you'll never know how far the ripples of change go. You just don't. Whew, there you go. Hope you found that interesting. I hope I was okay in trying to put this matter across, whether it was elegant and eloquent, which is I would always, that's my intention. but I hope it made it clear, with crystal clear clarity. And if I didn't make it clear, send me that email, send me that critique. Let's get it going. And if you would, please share this. Share this episode. Share every episode. Tell everyone about this. Because there's some golden nuggets in here somewhere. I know there is. It's up to you to find them, though. Take responsibility to find all the golden nuggets. And please, don't just listen. I know it's a podcast, but maybe take notes. Maybe just the golden nuggets. And then commit to taking action. Something I know I need to work on when I'm listening. My action now, I'll let you into a little personal secret of mine. Because I was journaling and I was talking about my puzzle book in my journal. Because I talk to myself in my journal, as you do. And one of the things that came up with, well, what do you learn from doing a podcast? What do you learn, Cluffy, about writing out your notes? What do you think of? What was the teaching to you? Because this came from my unconscious mind. I know that. And it was my unconscious mind telling me something as well as me sharing it with you. And I'm going to go back after this, sit down quietly with my puzzle book and think, well, what did I learn from this? And what am I going to do with those learnings? And then I've got to take responsibility. And I've got to get that well-formed outcome and start doing stuff. Don't tell anybody that, though, because that's the type of thing you wouldn't hear from people. You know, they know everything, and I don't know everything. I don't know a lot. But what I do know is I have the right intention, and I hope you get that. Anyway, that all being said, I want to speak to your unconscious mind, as I do. I've been speaking to you, well, you both, your conscious and your unconscious mind, the bit of every part of you, inside and outside. But especially now, I want you, the unconscious mind, to take responsibility for surprising their conscious mind, to feel happy for no reason, and do it every day. And then consciously, you can come back and go, what was that about? Feeling happy for no reason. Oh, there it is. Anyway, until the next time, my friend, we'll take responsibility of coming back together again. Okay, it's time to fly. Enjoy.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.